Alright guys, I was gonna wait till I got home to start filming, but I might as well I figured out I might as well start filming now, making some runs for some parts. I don't know if I told you guys, but brake hydro lines or whatever wasn't long enough, so we got a custom one made. Now that we should have both left and right hydro lines together, which I'll show you guys how I have it set up when we get home. But right now we're on our way to Ace Hardware because we got our 350Z axle stubs, and we also have our 350Z axle. We're gonna grab some bolts. We're gonna get the strongest hardware we can find there, and we're also gonna get some bolts for our drive shaft. So that being said, let's go ahead and get our bolts and get on home and start working on the car. All right, we just left the hardware store, got the strongest hardware possible for the diff to drive shaft and axle stubs to axles. Spent like $70 in bolts, but you know what? It is what it is. We have to get it done. At least we know they're super strong hardware, and fingers crossed they won't break. So just get on home. Back home, guys, and what you guys see here is pretty much the final pieces to the drivetrain. Pretty much, we have the engine that runs, the tranny's in there, and what's missing is connecting the transmission to the diff. So we have our custom drive shaft from Suspicious Garage. Gave them our measurements as I told you guys in previous videos. That goes into the W58 and adapts it to S13 drive shaft or diff. After that, we need to put the power to the wheels. So to do that, instead of using stock S13 axles that always break, especially with JZs and lowered cars, we went ahead and converted and upgraded to Z33 conversion diff stubs or half shafts or whatever you want to call it. But pretty much he does his whole process, puts on the Toge factory Z33 conversions, and now you can run a 350Z axle, which is much stronger, much beefier, and just better overall for the S13 compared to the stock axles. That being said, Jason from Rival AutoWorks makes these, so make sure to hit him up because he'll give you a good deal on them. They're only like $260 plus your cores, and he does offer a TIG welded version for just a little bit more. But these are the MIG ones, and if you take a look there, look at those welds. Look at those welds. You can see where he started, and there is no stop until right where he started. So these things are awesome. Gonna go ahead and throw these in the car and get our drivetrain finally finished. And I've heard a lot of mixed opinions on the whole hardware for this. I really wanted to go with OEM hardware just because we know OEM is strong enough to hold it. But the thing was, I couldn't find anyone that had the 4 diff bolts and then the 12 350Z axle bolts that was willing to get rid of them. So after waiting for like 2 months almost, just looking for hardware, because I knew I was gonna do this. So for like a few months now, I've been looking just for hardware so I can get it. Once I have everything, boom, I can put it on. But after no luck, I went ahead and went to Ace Hardware, because actually Kirk is the one who convinced me. He told me he has been running Ace Hardware stuff, like the grade 10, the strongest stuff they got for his JZFC, and he's had no problems. So went ahead and picked up a big bag of bolts, spent like $70 like I said, and yeah, let's go ahead and just bolt everything back up. We got our bolts, the little Allen heads. I guess these are the stronger ones, and if I can find them in here, we also got our nuts, and you can see they're not nylon locking nuts, they're just regular nuts. But then we got our locking crush washer type thing, so this will hold on the nut. So that being said, let's just get on to installing stuff. So while getting new axle bolts and drive shaft bolts, we went ahead and got new tension rod bolts because like 6 out of the 8 on the chassis were kind of cross-threaded and stripped. So we already have it tapped, so we're just going to re-tap the threads, clean them up, and put all new hardware on it. That way when we get to that, we don't have to worry about that. But that'll be for another video, so back onto axle stuff. Following this, I figured I might as well bring this out in a video because I know a lot of people get confused. The first few times we did this, we were quite a bit confused, but as you guys know, there's a short shaft and a longer shaft. And we were always confused which one to put into what, like when we were first putting it in. But let me clear the air. As you can see, the diff is not centered in the car. It's off to the driver's side. That being said, the shorter shaft goes on the passenger side. Longer shaft has to reach more over, so that goes on the driver's side. So all you gotta do is pop those in. Simple enough. Just shove it in the diff, make it align with the splines, and then we'll go ahead and hit that in with the mallet. And then we gotta do this side. Perfect.
Never turns out to be simple. Couldn't get the half shaft to go in all the way, so we pulled the diff out, and now we have a lot more room to just smack it.
Doesn't look like it's going anywhere. Alright, let's just time lapse this while I figure it all out. Alright, don't ask me what the hell I did, because you know what, I didn't change a damn thing. I tried to hit it the way I was hitting it earlier, it wasn't going in. Was trying to push them out, it wasn't coming out until I was giving up. And then I said, I'm just gonna hit this with a hammer. And it was going in. So now, I don't know if you can see it, but they're both fully in. Not a dang thing changed, but I'm not gonna complain, I'm not gonna question it. I'm just gonna put it right back in. Oh yeah. Alright guys, so we got the axle bolts. The axles are installed, half shafts are installed, they're all tightened up. Dry shaft is now installed, all 4 bolts are tightened up. But technically speaking, our drivetrain is complete. So, wow. One thing I do want to point out though, you can see here our bolts are a little short with the washers. I guess I measured it a little bit incorrectly, but it is on there super tight and it's not going to back out. So I'm not going to worry about it for now. Later down the road, once we get the car rolling, we'll go ahead and swap those out later on. But you can see these are on perfectly. We got our bolt, our lock washer, and the nut. I'm going to see if we can find, I can't really see them. But yeah, these are all good. These I'll end up replacing later on with slightly longer ones, so they look like that instead of sunken into the nut. And while I am under the car, I'm going to go ahead and install our passenger side of the hydro lines. This is a terrible angle for me. Anyways, let's go ahead and throw this into the car. Alright, so for the other side, I'm just going to time lapse through it, but I'm going to show you guys, it's going to be the same as the driver's side here. It comes out with the stock brake bracket there, brake line bracket. It's going to loop around, run with the frame rail, that way it's away from moving parts. It's going to loop back around up until here, that point. And then we put this rubber hose over it, that way it protects it from chafing against the body. And then you go straight down to the caliper. And the reason why we have it like this is because if we run it across here and to here, it's going to get in the way of all these moving parts of the rotor. It might the rotor might rub on it, it might get caught with this stuff and it might pinch and we will lose our hydro. With it right like this, it's away from all moving parts. When it's at full droop and full compression, there's no kink in the line. So that's a really big plus. That way we can have the most life out of that line as possible. So we're just going to go ahead and repeat it on this side. As you can see, it comes out with that bracket. We're going to run it along the frame rail, come out here, and then down to the caliper. And if you guys couldn't tell, we're holding it all together with our rubber P-clamps. Alright, so we got the brake line all routed up. As you can see, just like the other side, comes into here. There's still some slack at full droop, and when you go fully compressed, it does not kink up. And we got a rubber hose here just to protect it from chafing up here when it does tend to compress. So, brake lines are done. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. We got the 350Z axles, the 350Z conversion stubs, and our drive shaft all bolted in. Our drive shaft is now complete. All we need to take this thing on a drive, a proper drive, is literally coilovers and some wheels, which is simple enough. So that being said, we're so close for going on the first drives. So well, actually we still need to install the angle kit, but we have all of that stuff. We're just waiting for our power brakes to come in. That way we can bolt everything up, and then the coilovers. Then we can go on our first drives. But like I said, it's simple enough. We're almost there. Hopefully in the next few videos, we can finally take it on its very first drive. So that being said, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for sticking around. Peace out. See you on the next one.